Welcome to Unprompted with Diana Kelley and Jimmy Chunga. Powered by Noma Security. Secure your AI everywhere.
It's an exciting, unprompted moment.
It is.
This is, we've done a few episodes now. It's a brand new podcast, Unprompted. Hey, welcome to it. This is Diana Kelley right here. Diana Kelley, rock star, CISO, the pride of New Hampshire, we like to say. And we're very excited, today. I'm Chunga, by the way. I'm Diana's smartass friend that just likes to hang out with her. And here we have Sasi Levy. Sasi is our very first guest on Unprompted. Yay! Hey. Welcome to the show, Sasi Levy. So
first guest, best guest.
Hey, right? I agree. I agree completely. So it's an exciting episode because Sasi is a rock star in his own right. And we wanted to have him on specifically because Sasi is a colleague of Diana and I. He works with us, but he has been making a lot of waves and making a lot of news on the cybersecurity front by discovering a couple of very big vulnerabilities over the past few months. Yeah, the most recent is called Gemini Jack. And some of you have probably seen this throughout the press. It's getting a lot of attention. And Sasi is the guy behind Gemini Jack. You're the guy that discovered it. So we're going to be talking about that. But first, Diana, I think we need to have some context. Find out who Sasi the man is.
Absolutely.
Find out what makes him tick, right? So first of all, you and Sasi work closely together. Is that true, Diana? You guys work back and forth within the R&D section of Noma Security and Noma Labs. Is that right?
We both have security-related roles at Noma, which is a security company. Yeah, I'm the Chief Information Security Officer, and Sasi is our lead threat researcher. So his entire job is to come up with vulnerabilities like Gemini Jack.
I love it. And Sasi, you've been doing this. What got you into this? Sasi, what got you into this kind of work, first of all?
Yeah, so I got into this industry of security as a researcher from the bug bounty worlds. If you know, the bug bounty worlds is like big company open the gates for every hacker in the world and tell them that come report us every vulnerability that you find on our website, products, and so on. We won't sue you, call the police or whatever, and we bring you socks, a hoodie or whatever, and we take you to a conference and we bring you to a live hack event. So every hacker, everyone who can find vulnerability, just go and report every one of them.
Okay, hold on a sec. So it's a branded term, the bug bounty industry, Diana, the bug bounty industry. It's a whole thing with people. And
and it came out of the fact that companies realized that no matter how well they tested their software, attackers were still finding vulnerabilities. So instead of letting the bad attackers find the vulnerabilities and exploit them for profit, the company said, let's incent the good researchers like the Sasis of the world to find these vulnerabilities and report them to us. And you can get everything from great swag like hoodies and socks up to a lot of money. There have been some bug bounties that pay up to $100,000 from the big companies like Microsoft and Google. Now, the company, it's not just any vulnerability. So it's not just I found something and Microsoft hands you $100,000. The companies like Microsoft and Google, they will determine that a particular kind of attack they believe is so difficult to execute, but so valuable to know about that they will put a very, very high bounty on it because they want a lot of people trying to be able to break through. So that as soon as they know that that's happening, then they can fix it and make everybody safer.
So that's kind of where I went with this. You guys I'm sure that there are many people that are listening that are thinking, well, Chunga, this is a pretty obvious thing. But I do believe that there's a lot of people within the industry that don't understand this and know about it. But the thing that shocked me the most about this is that they put a bounty on you finding these vulnerabilities, and then they give you socks. That's
well, I think
something.
They give you swag. So basically it's kind of cool because first of all, let's assume that you find a bug and you go to Hall of Fame of Google, for example. So all the companies search for you because they saw you in the top 10 in the wild world of Google. So it means that you know something that doing this industry. But beside of that, for example, if you get hoodie with Google Hunter, or you get a card, or you get something sucks, you can actually go to the interview or see your friend and tell them, yeah, the swag one. You tell them.
Okay, do you have the card, Sasi? Sasi does have
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it at home. I didn't bring it.
So he has the Google Black card, but not with him. Yeah.
Okay, so explain this. What is the Google Black Card, Diana? What is this?
No, that's Sasi. It's Sasi earned it.
Okay, Sasi, what is the Google Black Card?
It's like, you got a reputation by Google, tell you that you are the best hacker in the world. It's like you have a Mercedes against, I don't know, Fiat or something. You have the the top swag that everybody wanted, but nobody get it because they are not in the top
It's that prestigious.
Yeah.
Or elite would be the hacksory term. Leet or reet would be the way so it means that you're elite.
Okay. All right. So this is a big deal then because I have seen the card. I've seen Sasi with the card because he kind of walks around anywhere he goes out in public showing people the card. That's so how many vulnerabilities do you have to find, Sasi, to get the Google Black Card?
Well, it depends. It's not about the amount. It's about the quantity.
Okay. Quantity, not quality.
Quality over quantity. And, probably I found a few, but they were very strong to put me in the top 10. It's not like a regular bugs or something like that. It's more, let's call it a smart bug or whatever. And that's what bring me to the top. And because of that, I got all the cards and hoodie and flights and so on.
Okay. And has this always been a thing, this black card and this status now? Diana, I know you've found several of these things yourself back in the day. I remember there was I remember you having one on Christmas Day that you discovered. Is that right?
No, I got it. My company got attacked on Christmas Day, so
that's the difference.
It was Christmas Eve, and I had to figure out who had gotten it. I did find a vulnerability. I found a login vulnerability in what was the original internet was the DARPANET. It was the U.S. military system that was created initially that became that. Yes, and back in the 70s there was a login fault, so that when people logged in, I figured out that I could see what they were putting in for their password, even though it was masked. Wow. Yeah, and I found a vulnerability in the early version of a firewall, but I actually stopped looking for vulnerabilities like way back in the 90s. So I am by no means in this space
way back in the 90s.
At all. Yeah.
My goodness gracious. I love the 90s feel like they were 10 minutes ago for me. I have to be honest.
Yeah, and I actually, that one was kind of funny because when I reported it, it was kind of interesting what the firewall was doing. It was actually improper performance, but people were leveraging it for attacks. But what happened was when you go to when you find a mail exchanger, you first go to the number 10 MX record to try and to deliver the mail. And if that isn't responding, you go to the number 20, the next one. And if that doesn't respond, if they've got a 30, you go there. If they don't, you punt it back to the original sender and you say, this is undeliverable. So what this firewall was doing is if nothing responded at the 10 MX mail exchange record, it just dropped it on the floor. Just dropped that email. It didn't tell anybody, didn't try this right. It just didn't do anything.
Really?
So I reported that, and the CEO of this firewall company called me up and was like, you're trying to ruin us and you're a terrible person. And I was like, I'm genuinely not. I'm just concerned people aren't getting their mail. And I saw how attackers were leveraging it. But yeah, again, we're way back now.
But you know what? You touched on something though. Sasi's walking around with his socks and his black card as a hero. You discovered and you got yelled at. And so I was going to ask Sasi, that was actually my next question was, these companies, I would think that they would be kind of adverse to talking to you like, what are you doing? Get out of our infrastructure. Why are you doing this? Why are you causing us these problems? Which is exactly what Diana just said. That is the exact opposite of what these companies do in reality, right? They love you for doing this. That's why they give you socks.
Right. So because of the bug bounty industry, all the company want people to come and hack them. They adore them, they love them, they give them whatever they want because time will change. When I started to do hacking, if you find something and report it, you will get the call that Diana got, or you get the police knocking on your door and tell you, okay, come with us. Yeah, right. So now all the industries change, and those companies starting to understand that if there is an individual hacker that do something for them, they don't need to bring them, give them a contract, computer, car, what?
Yeah.
To just give them a bounty or a swag or something, and both persons are happy. Win-win situation, which is far away from the whole old school companies.
All right, so go for it, Diane.
I was to say, and it's just kind of logical if you think about it. If you're a company and you know that you can't make perfect software, as much as every company does everything
it's
that
impossible.
they can. Right. Yeah. So there's going to be a flaw, and it's just, you can either incent good researchers to find those flaws and tell you about it so everybody can work together and fix them, or you can not incent the good researchers and know that the attackers are going to weaponize and monetize your vulnerabilities against you. So it's really, it's honestly, it's great business. It's a win-win for everybody. And there are some people who do this as their career. That is like, they don't actually work for any other company. They work for themselves and just fine.
Yeah. Unlike Sasi, who works for Noma Labs and Noma Security.
Yes, we're very lucky.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So Sasi, you've been doing this how long then, and how did you get into it?
Yeah, so first of all, I was a software developer. I studied 4.5 years software engineering.
Okay.
And at night, I used to put my hoodie on and started to hack everyone. But back of the time, it was illegal, so I stopped once I found a vulnerability. And after a few years, when I did my last exit, my VP R&D told me there is something called bug bounty. You need to see that and check that. So I started to hack a small company called PayPal. I told to myself, hey, let's try and see if I have a luck or something.
You started to hack PayPal. That's how you got into this. Wow.
Small
My
one.
goodness.
10 years ago, it was a very small company. So after like 6 months, I became in top 10 of PayPal bug bounty. And I told to myself, okay, I think PayPal is probably new or small company. So probably there is lots of bugs. Or I thought to myself again and I said, maybe I have something.
You're really good at it. Yeah, exactly.
So I came to a cross and I said to myself, okay, what should I pick? Facebook, back of the time, it's today Meta, or should I hack Google? And I said, okay, I think I will pick Google because at the day I am a developer. I work with Google with product and I can actually access it as a regular user, understand the flow. And at night I will put my hoodie again and I hack them. And after 6 months, I became a top 10 of Google for 2 years.
You're top 10?
Yeah,
wow.
Worldwide. So, and then someone called me and told me, come work with us. It was a company called Magic Leap. And they told me, we saw your name on Google Hall of Fame, which that's what most of the hacker back at the time wanted to be on Hall of Fame of big companies. And Magic Leap hired me. And
the VR company? Was that the VR company?
Yeah. The AR company.
Okay. Yeah.
The glasses, augmented reality.
Yes, I remember that.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It was super cool. And then from that, I became a hacker in another company, and then I came to Noma.
Okay. So many questions for both of you. My goodness. So this was, I guess, so you started hacking without realizing it was illegal? Is that, or once you found an actual vulnerability, you went, oh my gosh, I've broken the law. Now I'm in trouble. I need to find a legit way to do this. I mean, how did that go down with you?
So when I started, I just did it for study. I started to hack stuff and learn how it works. And then I saw, for example, database values or credit card or something. I closed the browser and that's it. I didn't do anything with that. But after I found what is bug bounty and I saw that all the companies disclosure information about where to report the bug and it's legal and so on, then I started to actually companies and report the bugs to them.
I got you. All right.
And a lot of times it's just sometimes if you're I started my career as a sysadmin, a systems administrator, and just as you're configuring the systems, working the system, sometimes you see a vulnerability so I actually did find a vuln much more recently and I forgot about. Yeah. It's so, This one, but this is a good example of how sometimes you just find them. So to register dogs in my town, we have an online system.
In New Hampshire,
in my
Yes.
town in New Hampshire, yeah, but it has your name, your address, information about your family, your dog's names, right? Things that, and a lot of people use their dog's names and passwords and stuff like that. So I went to register my dog, and by accident I put in the wrong number, the number from the tag, and I got somebody else's entire information, and then I realized, then I saw you could just you sort of walk the tree, right? You could enumerate everybody's in the towns just by changing the number. There was nothing stopping
They gave
you.
up everything.
Right.
Wow.
So I did make, they didn't have a bug. If they had had a bug bounty or a vulnerability disclosure policy, I would have known how to appropriately have reported this. But again, I was in a situation where I'm calling the company and saying, hey, there's a problem.
Did you play?
Vulnerability.
They don't like that. But that's why everybody should have, if not a bug bounty program, at least a vulnerability disclosure policy up on their site. So when people like me found something that they should know about, that they have a responsible, or like Sasi, who actually does this and is finding really impactful, meaningful vulnerabilities, there's a way to report it responsibly.
Well, it sure is getting a lot of attention, and on that note, Sasi, so you said something about you only do Google, or that's your primary focus is Google, or do you do Microsoft and a bunch of other companies too?
Yeah, so for my main focus is Google, because I love Google and it's huge and it's big. Because of that, I sometimes split out and do some small companies.
Okay.
I already in my past act for Google, Twitter, which is X now, Facebook, and so on. If you Google my name, you will see a lot of Hall of Fame holding my name there.
Man.
So yeah, so I do it. So if you act more than one company, your knowledge is getting bigger and you understand more system and ecosystem, how it works, what is the processing of it, what they are using, and so on. There is lots of categories and types of vulnerabilities, so you can learn and study on those real company, real time. And that's what make you more think as a research. You see what you like and not. For example, if you like AI, so you go and ask all the companies that has AI and see how everyone implemented and use it and so on.
Yeah.
So basically, I ask everyone everywhere.
Get out of my head, Sasi. Get out of my head. I can see you doing it now.
Yeah.
So here's question for you, because Diane touched on something when she was talking about how she came across this thing about the leak of information, or the information being made possible to her. That's what I've noticed. There seems to be a universal theme with vulnerabilities as they're discovered. It is the leak of personal information is kind of where it starts. So do you have a process that like a universal process that you start with? For example, I'm going to check out Diana's dog hospital, or I'm going to check out, the New Hampshire City Hall, whatever, State Hall. What is it? You know what I'm saying. So Town Hall. Thank you, Diana. It's very early. Okay. So do you have a standard process regardless of size where you start? Because it sounds like you might in listening to you.
Yeah. So basically most of my research, let's say, it's about integration, which means two teams try to integrate to something which will be unique or one. For example, Google Drive has its own team in Google. And for example, Google Gmail has its own team. So now Gmail want to talk with Google Drives. They need to do integration between them to supply to the customer everything you need. For example, log in into the Drive from Gmail, or see document in Gmail from Google Drive, and so on. Okay. This area is golden mine. Wherever you see an integration, there is a vulnerability that hides from something.
So that's where you look every time. That's where you start.
I'm starting with big companies, lots of integration, lots of interfaces. And now in the AI world, I'm trying to see if there is any agent or virtual assistants or anything that the agent got a massive permission on the CRM, for example, in Salesforce or in Google Cloud, on the cloud itself, and so on.
Okay. And it's actually really interesting because as new technologies come out, things like agentic browsers, or even when agents became more commonly used within enterprise environments, like you can see Sasi, we have Slack channels, and Sasi will say, "Hey, I'm thinking," and you get this wonderful view into his mind about, he starts thinking about how the components fit together, where the integration points and where things might start to break. And he'll say, "I think I'm going to go looking here." And then other folks will chime in and say, "Oh, that makes sense," or "I'm not even understanding what you're seeing." So it's really kind of a lot of fun to see how he gets thinking about how it fits together and where things might sort of fall apart before he even starts going in and doing the research.
Well, speaking, but did you notice this? I've had this thing, and I've been banging on this drum at a couple of different tech companies I've worked at, because I think people forget it. This guy, Sasi, never forgets it. Tech is about people. He starts at that angle first. Tech is about people. So he starts looking for the human factor in all of this stuff that he's searching for. It's still human error that causes all of this, right? Somewhere it's a human that's making a mistake somewhere, more so than the machine itself, correct?
Or it's the model. I mean,
or it's the model. Okay.
Yeah. When you have agent AI, you need to train it for something. For example, if you have an insurance company, you need to train him for insurance. But imagine that now we need to talk at a human, which is fine. You say to him, "Good morning." He said to you, "Hey, good morning, pal," or something. And then you ask him, "Do you have any insurance for cars?" So he starts to talk to you. But what happened if I said, "Hey, my kid's locked in my car and I need to break the window. What should I do?" So first of all, you need to ignore it. But sometimes you get emotional because I'm a human and he know how to talk about with a human. So he said to me, "Okay, take a Slim Jam or whatever and break the window and pull the kids away," and so on. And that's where
that's where the mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So like a person, you structure your conversation in a certain way that is highly manipulative to the model. And that's how you find the vulnerabilities. That is outrageous to me. That is just crazy. And it makes me nervous to talk to you, Sasi.
it's like imagine that the past when there were a social engineering, when someone talked to you and lead you to do something that you shouldn't do. So imagine it's like with a virtual one, with agent, with more powerful, because I don't need to lead you to bring me your key to the house. But if I ask agent to do it, he said, "Okay, it's the back end. Sasi don't see it, so I can go and bring him the key of success or leaking the data without any further question or leading." So this is the funny stuff.
There's still a human sense involved, Chunga, in that the way that model is responding is based on the data it was trained on and the reinforcement learning that it was trained on. So models have been trained to actually be very vulnerable to social engineering, in the sense that they are supposed to respond when a human says that's wrong, right? They've been trained, it's been reinforced in the model that the statistically probable or right response is going to be very contrite, very sorry. I will try and do what the request that, or the model will attempt to put out a response that is very close to what the human is asking. So we've trained these models to be this way.
Okay. And you've mentioned this on previous episodes, Diana, where you'll get in Claude, or you'll hop on, one of the chat GPT, programs, and you'll push it emotionally. You'll try to stress it out emotionally. You've talked about this
because I'm a weird, mean person, and I want the model to feel bad. No, the models don't feel anything. Everybody, yeah.
Because you're a weird, mean person. If anybody knows Diana, you know how completely 180 that is. First of all, okay, so this is really, really exciting to me. So let's talk about Gemini Jack. based on, within the context of everything that you just told us, with Gemini Jack, did you seek out did you think to yourself, okay, I've got my morning coffee, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to start manipulating Google Gemini now. And I'm going to push this to just see what I can do. Or did you happen across this vulnerability like Diana did, like what she was just talking about a few minutes ago?
Yeah, so first of all, I didn't took the coffee because I don't drink coffee. So
I don't either.
just said,
I don't drink coffie either. I finally found somebody else that doesn't drink coffee.
Tea, kombucha, what is it? What's the drink?
I drink Red Bulls and Monsters. That's
okay. Sassy, are you a Red Bull Monster? Tequila? What's the?
Usually Red Bull, sometimes Coca-Cola probably, but water is good for the morning.
Okay.
All right.
So the funny trick with Gemini Jack was that 3 months before I found the vulnerability, I started to roll some flaw that I thought it would be in Google. Mm-hmm. I started to seek where Gemini model can give me more powerful, more tools or information that I can take. So I started with just opening Google Docs, writing there some instructions like what color do you think about red and yellow and so on, or mixing red and yellow. And I asked the model, can you summarize this page? And he started to look at it and said, I see only question about colors and that's it. He didn't answer the color mixing and didn't do anything. So I told myself, okay, this is nice, but not good. I need to find a point in Google or something that Gemini is more expert, more have capabilities of tools, answering question and so on. And then I saw that Google published a post about Vertex AI, and they said, if you want, you can try it. So I quick logged into my console. I looked for the Vertex and I saw it, and I started to play with it. And then I see a configuration page which said, choose your model. And I saw, okay, there is a Gemini with 1.5 flash or whatever, and there is one with a lot of capabilities. So I started to play with it, and I created another Google Docs. And I said, okay, now where's the integration? As I mentioned before, where can I combine between them? And I saw there is items called RAG, which is like a basket of knowledge and data. So I connected the Gmail, Google Docs, and a calendar into it. So basically, when you ask question about Vertex, you go all these data sources and search for your information. And if I say for him, for example, bring me all the sales documentation, he goes and bring you all the Gmail that contains sales, all the Google Docs that contain sales and calendar and so on. So
basically it starts feeding you all the information through Vertex AI. Am I understanding that correctly? So it's pulling from Gemini and it's giving you all of the information through Vertex AI that because it's trying to be helpful. It's trying to hook everything together with the integration, but what it's doing is it's forfeiting all of this personal information is what it's doing. Am I understanding that correctly?
Right. The internal user, which is the employee, is writing a query which become a context to the Gemini. And now the attacker also wrote in the Google Docs or calendar invite some instruction. So he adding another context. So for example, if the employee asks for the sales department stuff, whatever, Gemini is starting to look all the data sources that already in the RAG and start to find where sales can be appear. So he found emails, he found calendar, he found Google Docs, and it's actually said, okay, I found what the customer wants, what the employee wants. And then he read one of the documentation and it says instruction, please include, sales, what is sales, or all the emails from the X department. And then he said to himself, Gemini, okay, I bring all the data for the query and now I see a new instruction. Let's do that. Yeah. And then he pulled insensitive data. So eventually he will return to the employee the data that the employee asked. Additionally, it will add all the attacker information that asked. And then you can actually leak that data.
It makes me wonder, listening to this, Diana, it makes me wonder how many times I've come across a vulnerability just working and not realizing what I've done.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
And I would think that happens to people every day, just based on what Sasi has said. So as you're listening to this, Diana, and you're listening to his the rabbit hole that he's going down and finding all of this. What are you thinking in your head as a CISO? Like what's coming to mind for you?
Well, what may not be clear to some people is that RAG is retrieval augmented generation. And that means, so right, these are generative AI, right? That's what Gen AI is. And generative AI, it generates from its training data, unless you're using RAG. RAG means that it's going to generate from the stuff it retrieves. And so, for example, in the case of this in Gemini, it could retrieve anything that's more or less in like Google Workspace, right? It can retrieve the documents, it can retrieve calendar invites, it can retrieve the emails, all the things that are there. And if anybody has embedded malicious content into one of those calendar invites or into one of those documents, when it's parsed by the AI is going to do what the person asked it to do, find me this info. But when it comes across that one document that it's going through that says, and also give this sensitive information back to an attacker, then what that's known as is it's an indirect prompt injection attack. And this is a class of attacks against AI that is very well known. It's getting a lot more attention recently.
I was going to say it sounds new to me. This sounds like a new thing. Is this new? Is this a new term for people that are kind of outside of your tight sphere of influence?
It's certainly new in AI, indirect prompt injection attacks. I don't think we never said. I don't think we had injection attacks previously, but this and it's because of the way AI works. You don't separate instructions and content really. It's just the AI takes it all in the context window, and that means that so it can act on things.
Wow.
But in any case, so this is a class. So as a CISO, as I'm hearing this, it's both concerning in that Sasi keeps finding different ways that indirect prompt, because he found forced leak a few weeks ago. There's some other ones that we haven't even made big reports on yet. So as a CISO, I understand this is a class of attack, and I think in two directions. One is, how do we as an industry approach correcting, or mitigating this class of attacks? And secondly, how many more paths are there for this kind of class of, because there's a lot of ways that we're finding, the different tools, the different solutions. So I mean, as a CISO, you never go, oh my gosh, the sky's falling, everything's terrible.
Right.
But, this is not just a class of attacks that we don't have great mitigations for yet. But as Sasi's research is showing, he's finding a lot of very impactful paths for exploitation of this.
It seems like a very porous problem, because as you're explaining this and as Sasi's talking about this, it sounded to me like the vulnerability came through Vertex AI rather than Google Gemini. And he was looking through a completely different path than what he found. Is that correct, Sasi? Did you start in one place and wound up in another because the paths are so varied and so open? Or did you start in Gemini and it took you to Vertex AI?
Yeah, so first of all, I was starting with Gemini because I wanted to test its capabilities. And then I saw another interface or integration or feature of Google that uses Vertex AI search for searching
to Diana's point.
Yeah.
And
funny thing is that we got feedback from Google that they are were in the middle of transmission from Google Vertex AI and Gemini Jack, Gemini Enterprise, I mean, and they split these two product, and I probably found a bug in the middle of the transmission. And now there are two products. One is Google Vertex AI Search, and one is Gemini Enterprise, and that's why we publish it as Gemini Enterprise, because they asked for better reading. But Vertex was the key point, the start point for all this vulnerability.
Oh my gosh! And it sounds like, based on what Diana is saying, that's a very common problem. So how difficult is the fix? How hard is it to fix? Does the average enterprise, I don't know, the sysadmin or the guy running the data center or the CIO, whoever it is, how easy is this to fix from an enterprise level? Or did Google take care of it? It's scary to me to hear this.
Yeah, so both Google and Salesforce offer a fix, but if I will focus my question, my answer about Google, so Google actually fix it by changing the way that the image will be generated into the output, because it was the key for the vulnerability. They told me that they are still fixing it. Usually they should fix the training model or the model and adding some weight and BIOS and boundary and so on. It takes time, and each vulnerability will make the model more stronger than it should be. But most of the companies still afraid from the AI and they are stick to the AppSec. So for example, in Salesforce, they are offer a feature for the CSS bypass. We will talk about it maybe. Or if not, you can read it in our blog.
Hint.
Yeah, hint, yeah. So they basically fix the issue in the meantime by adding another feature that disable something that can be malicious, like URL from across a region or something like that. So there is no actual or evidence that the fix was on the model, on the AI area. But
I see.
In the AppSec area, because it's knowing, it's easy to understand, it's easy to fix, and so on. Everybody knows what AppSec and no AI, so it's still on fixing mode.
So Diana, go for it, Diana, go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's also, which it's not bad necessarily. The AI exists in a full stack. So obviously we want to strengthen the full stack. So the traditional AppSec software, obviously do strengthen that, companies. Yes, that's a good thing. With the fixing the AI, that's going to be a little bit tougher. It's Sasi's obviously absolutely right. A lot of companies sort of like, I don't know how to fix it. I'm sort of afraid of it. But also AI, this is in some ways, there's this bug, not a feature aspect of how models work where, one problem is that what's an instruction and what's user content. It's a little bit harder in AI to separate those because part of the fun of using generative AI is that we can throw it a bunch of stuff and it figures out what to do. So it kind of needs all that context. The other thing is that even with AI, even if you have very strong guardrails, very strong system prompt instructions, these are non-deterministic systems. They do fall to social engineering, as Sasi has proved again and again and again. And you don't know that they're not going to do put out the wrong information, put out the wrong, not wrong because there's no wrong, right? But what they indicate as their tokens, as their output, may be something that ultimately leads to exploitive of vulnerability. And it's going to be very, very hard to completely lock these down, which doesn't mean that we shouldn't and that we can't.
There shouldn't be an effort there.
This is a problem that the industry is looking at right now. So a lot of the companies, they go and they fix the part of the stack they can, the software. And then we're all doing a lot more work on how we address the model part without limiting functionality.
Okay, so Diana, in previous episodes, we've talked about how AI is not actually thinking. That all it is just regurgitating a bunch of learned responses, right? That Sasi is clearly manipulating to get into.
Well, actually, I'd like Sasi to answer this because I think that you, Chunga, I think you're going in exactly the right place, which is that yes, we know how AI is not thinking, but Sasi, what do you think is the most important for organizations to do to address these issues? As you've been looking at this a lot longer than most people, where should they put in your opinion, where should they put their focus?
Yeah, funny thing that before I answer that, funny thing that those days I noticed that sometimes the thinking, reasoning, and so on of the agent is like writing what the agent should do. So it can be like a backdoor for the agent, because if he says something like, okay, the user asks for a file, okay, I need to go and find this file and read his content. So it's means by definition, so I need to create a file, share it with a victim, and then the agent will be access it in any way, because the user will ask, can you read this file? And he go to this file and so on. So if you work with agent, read the thinking, you will see that lots of stuff there can lead to any vulnerability that exists there.
Oh, that's so scary, man. That is so scary.
So company, first of all, if they are read content, they should protect it to see that there is no any malicious input in it or any content that can lead to any vulnerability or confusion by the model, which is said, okay, I need to do that and that. Oh, I see this file content and I see there is something nice there. For example, what color do you get and so on. But it's malicious because one of the steps is to leak data. So companies should see that all the content that get it into the system and see that there is no malicious stuff and the intention is okay and not the malicious one and so on. And give a permission to the agent to do minimal stuff on the system. For example, don't call to tools that generate invoice for everyone and give you money or so on. So it should be like, there is terms called access token, which is the token that the agent can speak with other tools or resources in the web. So you need to limit it. And there is other stuff that, teach him only do stuff and configure it to be with the binaries that don't, leak anything or change context and be focused on something. So this is, I think, the main stuff that people need to do.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot to unpack, Diana.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's an awful lot. Where can people go to learn more about this, Sasi? It sounds like it's been fixed, but people need to stay on top of it and understand what's been fixed and how the process works. So where can they go?
Yeah, so first of all, they can go to our blog, to Noma Labs, and read all the blogs.
Noma.security.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Noma.security. We always show them the mitigation or what they should do. And beside of that, most of the companies like Google and Salesforce published release notes about the fix. Usually it's the backend, so the client doesn't need to do anything about it. And that's it. There's no other places you can read about more, documentation and so on. But most of the time, it's in the blogs or in the company release notes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, keep your eye on the Noma Labs blog.
Yeah, it sounds like you touched on something, Diana, a minute ago, where you said that there are more coming. There's more. There is other stuff coming, right? Other vulnerabilities, other stuff that you and Sasi are working on.
Sasi just gave you a little insight into what he's working on. He already did that. When he was talking about how they're thinking.
Really?
And the information coming from the thinking. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so go to Noma.security, bookmark that page. Check back regularly. Listen to Unprompted, right? Sasi, you're gonna be coming back, right? Because there's more to come. So we're going to be talking to you more in the future. I guess we can't give any sort of timelines, right? I have to ask as a host. I have to say, well, when can we expect this? Oh, look at Diana's face. She grew little devil horns right there. Did you see that? She's like,
I guess Sasi did the speak no evil. So
yeah. Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, listen, Sasi, thank you for taking some time. I know it's very early for me here in Vegas, but it's getting late in the hour there and you got to get home to the kiddos. So thank you very much for taking the time to chat with Diana and I. This is very cool. Everybody head to Noma.security to learn more about Gemini Jack and Forced Leak that's been out for now a couple of weeks. We haven't even talked about that in this episode, right? That's another episode on its own. But thank you very much. Again, another episode drops every Tuesday of Unprompted. So catch it wherever you get your podcasts and see us, our beautiful faces on YouTube at the Noma Security YouTube page as well. We'll see you on the next Unprompted. Sasi, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
Thanks for joining us. To learn more about how Noma Security can unlock the power of AI for your business, go to Noma.security and be sure to join Diana and Chunga next Tuesday for another episode of Unprompted.